Hi everybody, my name's Diane Percy. Sorry we're a little bit late. We were supposed to start at 1 o'clock, but as you know, as you possibly know, sometimes things don't always go as planned technically, so we're all sorted. Welcome to our free 30-minute exercise session for older adults. We are filming live from our Hughes Community Centre, where we have our COTA ACT office, and I'm excited to be able to provide a bit of an exercise program for everybody who's at home, who is really looking to doing a bit more movement in their day. The idea came around from our Strength for Life classes here at COTA. We have been running these classes for the last month or so, and all of our fabulous participants, we know that now that the classes are no longer on, they're at home, they're still very keen to be doing their exercise program. Some of the things they can be doing at home, but other things they might need a bit of guidance with. So we thought, well, we'd like to give you something to do at home in the meantime until we get back up and running again with our classes. And also for every other older adult in the ACT, in Australia, who is really keen to be doing a little bit more activity on a regular basis. So what we'll be doing today, we have about a 5-minute warm-up. We'll have some exercises to focus on our balance, which is really important, our strength, our flexibility, relaxation, a bit of coordination, not too much, and in a way that I can modify the exercises for you. So what I would suggest, if you haven't done it already, is to make sure you've got some space to move in, and also that you've got a chair. And a lot of the exercises, other than some of the standing balance exercises, you can do them in the chair. So please feel free to move maybe between seated and standing, depending on how you're feeling. And we've got minimum equipment because we're not sure what you might have at home. I have some small hand weights here. If you've got something at home, especially something that you've been using regularly, go ahead and use those dumbbells. People who've been doing Strength for Life, they might be working with something a little bit heavier. So the weights I'm using are 1 kilo, but if you've got your own weights at home and you're very comfortable using them, please go ahead. You also might want to look at taking something out of your pantry, like a couple of cans, just to give you that little bit of extra resistance, so that we do focus on our strength. Anyway, just before we go ahead though, just wanted to remind you that anytime we do physical activity, there is a risk of injury. And because I can't see you and what you're doing, I'd like you just to be aware of that, and also to just make sure that if there's anything that doesn't feel right for you, depending on a health condition you might have, or an injury that you might have, please you choose when you want to participate or not. We want you to get through this session with us feeling fantastic. So it's really about you doing what feels right for you. And the other thing too is that everybody, because everyone's a little bit different, we might be moving through an exercise at a different pace. The pace that I set in the class is not the pace that you have to stick to. You might prefer to move a little bit slower or a little bit faster, just making sure that you've got really good technique while you're doing the exercises. All right, so I don't think I've forgotten anything. First thing we're going to do is start off sitting in our chair. So if you'd like to just pull your chair up, take a seat. And also, as we're going along, if you do want to make any comments, if you'd like to, also click on the wow button if you can hear me okay, because I want to make sure that it's all very clear. And let's get started. So we're going to have our feet about hip width distance apart. Our hands are sitting on our thighs. We're going to lift up really tall through the top of our head. And then taking a deep breath in, and let that air go down into your belly. And then as you breathe out, breathing out through the mouth, all through the nose. Let's just do that a few more times. So nice deep breath in. You want to get the air right down into the lower part of the rib, the lungs, so that the rib cage expands. And then a long breath out through the nose or the mouth. And this breathing technique, you want to focus on that during the exercise session. You never want to feel like you're holding your breath. And now, as we're sitting up tall, let's just tilt our head to one side and giving the neck a nice stretch. And then as you come back to the center, take a breath in, and as you breathe out, tilt the head to the other side. And another breath in, tilt the head to the side. And you just want to feel like you're warming up the muscles in the neck. We're not trying to force the movement. Then come back to the center, and here, as we stay lifted, you're just going to turn and glance over your shoulder, and then come back to the center. As you breathe out, let's tilt and turn to the other side. Good. 2 more times. So same thing here, we're staying up nice and tall, and just trying to get some mobility into our shoulders. Lovely. Back to the center. And now let's take a breath in and lift the shoulders up towards the ears. And as you breathe out, just slowly roll them back and down. So we're breathing in to lift, and we breathe out to roll the shoulders back and down. Good. Hey, I can see a few people there watching. I hope you're enjoying it so far. Let's take another breath in and out. Now, as we're doing that, let's start to lift the elbows. So elbows lift, and we're just going to make a nice circle with the arms. And just being careful, if you do have any shoulder injuries, not to go past what's comfortable for you. So we always will start off a little bit smaller with our movements, and then we start to make them a little bit bigger. But if you get to a point where you feel like, oh, that's enough for me, well, then you stay there. But I'm going to show you all the options, and then you just go with what feels right for you. So just getting some nice mobility into the shoulders. Nice deep breath in and out. Good. And then just relax the shoulders down and the arms down. Give them a little shake. Lovely. And now let's pop our hands up on our shoulders. Elbows are just dropped down nice and comfortable. We stay very tall through the top of the head. And then as you breathe out, let's just rotate the torso to one side. And then come back to the center as you breathe in, and then as you breathe out, let's rotate to the other side. So it's really important here is that as we rotate, we keep our spine nice and long. If you have osteoporosis, you might not want to be doing this exercise. However, we always need to be able to do a bit of rotation in the spine, and you just want to go to what feels comfortable for you. Good. And then release the arms down. Nice work. And now let's keep one hand on the chair. Let's reach the other arm out to the side and across the body, just to stretch the back of the shoulder, and bring the arm out, and then bring it back down. And then the other arm reaches out to the side, across the body, and then back to the center and down. Good. Let's do that 2 more times. Reach out and across, just to get a little bit of length in the muscles in the back of the shoulder. Let's lift again. Breathe out, reach across, and back to the center and down. Now this time, let's reach the arm out, and if you're comfortable to do so, lift the arm up towards the ceiling and across, and then back down. So this is really to stretch the muscles in the side of the body. As I said before, if you've got problems with your shoulders and it's really difficult to lift the arm up, you're just going to bring the arm across the body like we did before. So really do what feels right for your body. Reach up, we'll do 1 more time, and down. Nice. And then just give the shoulders a little roll. Lovely. All right. Now, one of the exercises that we do in Strength for Life to test our leg strength is called a sit to stand. Some of you might have done this before. What we're going to do is try and do a minimum of maybe 6 and a maximum of maybe 12 sit to stands. So you want your feet about hip width distance apart. You want to pop your hands up onto your shoulders, and then we're going to keep our feet glued to the floor and come up to standing. And then we're going to go back to sitting again. And when you come back down to sitting, make sure you keep that space between the knees. Let's try that again. So take a breath in, lift up, and then you control it on the way back down. Let's do another one. So we've done 3 together. You keep going if this suits you. If you've got problems with your knees, you might want to be doing a leg extension. So just lifting one leg, extending the leg out. I know that one of my clients who's probably watching has a bit of arthritis in the knees, and it's very difficult to do the sit to stand. So what we're getting this lady to do is the leg extensions, because you still get to work your quadriceps with a little bit less pressure on the knees. If you're doing your sit to stand, let's just do a few more. I hope you're counting, because I can't count for you. And even in the class, sometimes I make mistakes. And I'll make you do maybe a little bit too many or a bit too less. All right, let's do one more time. Lovely, and back up. Good, and let's just give the legs a little bit of a break. All right, so what I'm going to do is just move the chair a little bit. Hopefully everybody can see my feet. So we're going to bring our feet about hip width distance apart, just give the legs a little bit of a shake and the arms a bit of a shake. And now we're going to start tapping our toes. So you're going to lift the toes off the floor, one foot at a time. So lifting the toes up towards the shins. And you choose a speed that suits you. You might want to set your hands on your hips. And what we're doing here is starting to activate the muscles in the front of the shin. And they're important muscles to keep strong. As we get older, we want to avoid that shuffling movement, and keeping these muscles nice and strong and activated helps to stop that from happening. Good, and now let's tap the toes just a little bit faster. Lovely. Good. And release. And now if you're sitting in your chair, you can do the same exercise as us here. We're going to do a calf raise, and this one requires a bit of balance, but it's also a great exercise to strengthen the muscles in the back of the lower leg. So let's come up onto the balls of the feet and then lower the heels down. So if your balance is a little bit shaky, you might want to be holding onto a chair. So you have the chair here, just so that you feel comfortable, or you might have the chair in front of you. And same thing with this exercise. We'll do about 10 to 12 repetitions. So if you get to a point where you feel like, oh, that's enough for me, please stop. But also, please don't keep going forever and ever, because a lot of these strength exercises, we have a fixed number of repetitions, just so that we don't overdo it. Good. And now let's give the calves a bit of a stretch. So we'll just bring one foot back. Make sure both feet are parallel. We've got the back heel pressed down, the toes lifted in that back foot. Front knee is slightly bent. And even though the leg is straight, we don't want the knee to lock out. So just make sure that there's a very soft lock in the knee. And then let's stretch the other side. I normally have a little bit of music playing, but I thought today, not to get too distracted, I'd keep it quiet. Good, and then bring the feet in, walk it out. And now let's start moving the feet a bit more. And we're going to bring the toes out in front. So you're just going to tap the toes in front. And as I said before, you go at your own pace. And with the arms, what we're going to do is, as you tap the foot forward, let's bring the opposite hand towards the shoulder. So tap and back, tap and back. Okay. So just imagine we're walking down the road, but here we're not going anywhere. Good. Now all we'll change here is we're going to change the toe tap for a heel tap. heel tap. Same thing, you go at your own pace. Good. Now let's change the arms, but keep the legs the same. So the arms extend out in front. And you decide, you might want to reach the arms out in front, you might want to reach the arms up towards the ceiling. If you want to add a bit more intensity, you reach the arms up. But if we're looking at the intensity on a scale of 0 to 10, where 10 is very, very difficult and 0 is laying in bed doing nothing, our intensity, we don't want it to go past about a 6 or 7 out of 10. This is a nice, gentle, but with a lot of benefits, exercise session. Good. Now let's keep the arms the same, and instead of doing that heel tap, let's bring the knee up. And you lift the knee as high as you want to. So if this gets a bit too much, what you could do is go back to what we did before. Either do a heel tap or a toe tap. Same thing, you might want to reach the arms up towards the ceiling. And you want to feel like you're increasing your heart rate just a little bit. Lovely. Nice. And let's stop for a second. See if we can balance on one foot. If we can't, just drop the toes down or put the foot down and then place that foot down. Let's try the other side. So lift the heel first and then lift the foot off the floor. Good. And then release. Nice. Okay, so now we're going to warm up a little bit around the hip area. What I'll get you to do is start to tap the foot out to the side. So tapping out, tapping out. Good. And because we like to do a bit of coordination here, let's bring our palms up. Imagine we're holding a couple of plates, and then as you tap out to the side, let's bring the opposite hand out and then back in. Opposite hand out and back in. So once you've got it, just start to increase the movement a little bit. If it gets a little bit too confusing, you can always do just the legs on their own. Good. Okay, let's do a couple more. Lovely. Now bring the hands back on the hips. Got the legs, they're still going. Let's start to tap the foot behind. So tap and together, tap and together, tap and together. Good. And now we'll add something a little bit different for the arms. So we're going to just sweep the arms, do a nice little circle in front with the arms. It's great for your shoulders. As I said before, if it doesn't feel right, please just pop the hands back on the thighs and keep going. Lovely. I'm sure you're all doing it fabulous. All right, last one. Good, and walk it out. All right, now's the time that we want to pick up our little hand weights or our cans. I did want to show you a couple of pieces of equipment that we do use in the Strength for Life classes here at Hughes. So for people who have rheumatoid arthritis or osteoarthritis in their hands, it's really hard on the hands to be holding the weights. These are nice soft weighted balls, so we're using them with some of the clients so that they can have the resistance there without any discomfort in the hands. And we also use bands, resistance bands, and they can be purchased at a lot of sports stores, at Kmart, places like that, and even online. It's a great tool to have if you're at home and you want minimal equipment that doesn't take up a lot of space. But what we're going to do now is we'll use our small hand weights. So I just want you to bring your arms down by your side, and the feet position, it's really up to you. So either very stable with the feet about hip width distance apart. If you do want to challenge your balance though, you might want to bring the feet a bit closer together, or you might want to stand in a tandem stance. So you pick the position that's right for you. So here we'll do a bicep curl. You take a breath in, and as you breathe out, you're just bringing the hands up towards the shoulders. This is called a hammer curl. And then breathe in and bring the arms back down. So breathing out to lift, breathing in to lower. So we've done 2. I want you to count and do maybe a minimum of 8, maximum of about 12, maybe 15. If it doesn't feel right with the weights, if you've got them, just place the weights down and do the movement. Good. So on the effort, we always try and do that breath out, breathe in to go back down, and remember, it's always about how well we can do the exercise. So technique is really important. Good. Let's do one more. Good, and stop there. Lovely. Now let's pop the weights down just for a second, because the next exercise we can do it with or without weights. So what we'll be doing, same position for the legs. You want to be able to raise your arms up, so thumbs are pointing up, about shoulder width height, and then we come back down, and then we're going to angle the arms out on a diagonal, and then if you can, we're going to bring the arms out to the side and back here. Good. And now we're going to bring the arms back. So see how my palms are facing forward and then back to the center. So there's 4 moves. We'll breathe out to lift, breathe in to lower, and then on a diagonal, and back, and then out to the side, and back, and then the arms go behind. Good. So let's try that with the weights. So we take a breath in, and as you breathe out, bringing the arms up, shoulder height, and down. As you breathe out, on a diagonal, and down, and then out to the side. See how my thumbs are always pointing up? And now we keep the palms facing forward, and we're just going to press the arms behind. Good. Let's do that again. Breathing out to lift, and in to lower, on a diagonal, and lower, out to the side, and lower, and then to the back, and lower. So let's do that 2 more times. Remember, if it gets a little bit fatiguing, you can always put your weights down, keep the arms going, or if you've got something slightly heavier and you feel like it's quite doable for you. I know we've got participants in our classes who are quite strong, and they're obviously going to take a little bit of a heavier weight to do this. So I'm hoping that a lot of you are out there continuing your exercises. Lovely. And then release. Give the arms a bit of a roll. Now let's do a nice stretch for the shoulders. So bring the arms around, lace the fingers, open the chest. Really feel that nice stretch in the front of the shoulders. A little bit into your chest. And then let's bring the arms out to the side. And you want to turn the fingers back and just press the arms away. Here you want to feel a stretch in your forearm, a little bit in your bicep. And then drop the arms down. Now let's lace the fingers. Let's take a breath in, lift the hands up towards the chest. Then you're going to bring the arms out in front as you breathe out, just a light rounding out of the back. And then take a breath in, open, stretch the chest, and down. This is a really nice mobility exercise. Let's take a breath in. As you breathe out, just a nice rounding out, a little bit of the shoulders, not too much. Breathe in as you open, and breathe out as you lower. Good, let's do one more time. Breathe in, breathe out and press. Breathe in, open the chest, and down. Excellent work, nice work. Now, let's do a little bit more for our legs, shall we? So what I'll get you to do is stand behind your chair, and we're going to do an exercise for the back of the thighs and the buttocks. So these muscles are really important when it comes to our strength, our body strength, because it helps to reduce our risk of falling if we have a stronger hip, buttock area, thighs, the front of the thighs, back of the thighs. So let's stand side onto the chair, And you're going to bring one leg out and then just lift the heel a tiny bit off the floor. And as you breathe out, you're just going to press that leg back and then forward again. And breathing out, press back and forward. So you want to feel the muscle of the buttock doing the work. And if you're cramping at all in your hamstring, just keep the leg a little bit straighter. Good. One thing we need to be aware of though is when you press the leg back, try not to lean forward, try not to arch your back. So standing up nice and tall. Let's just do 2 more like that. And you can feel the other leg, we're having to work hard just to be able to stand on that one leg. So both legs get a little bit of a workout. Now let's do the same thing on the other side. So let's bring the leg back and just extending from your hip. And your hips, you want them to be facing forward. So extending and coming back. And if you're doing it right, you should feel the buttock muscle tighten up as the leg goes back. You want to be aware, no movement in your lower back. And a nice breath out as you press away. Good. Let's do 2 more. And last one. Good. And then walk the legs out. Now I didn't tell you at the beginning, but if you did want to take a break and if you've got a bit of water there, have a little sip of water. Make sure that you do that whenever you need to. We might do a bit of a stretch at the end for those muscles that we just worked, because that was a good one. Now, so moving on. How are we doing for time? Oh look, I think I could go on forever, but we're pretty close to the end. So what we'll do is next week when you join me, we'll do we're doing a class on Tuesday at 1 o'clock and also Thursday at 1 o'clock. So a few of the things that we were going to do today, I might save them till then. But in the meantime, let's finish off what we're doing here. So take your chair and take a seat. Just relaxing the shoulders and making sure that you're not sitting right up against the back of the chair. We want to work on those muscles that support our spine. Just place your hands on your thighs for the moment and just give the shoulders a lift and roll them back and down. Let's do that again. Good. Now this next part, we're going to practice some breathing techniques, which are great for relaxation, but they're also really good exercises to make us more mindful of how we use our core muscles, our abdominal muscles. So if you'd like to close your eyes while we do this, it's up to you. Just make sure that your upper body is nice and relaxed. So the Pilates breath, we breathe in through the nose like I've been asking you to do. So nice deep breath in, but when you breathe in, we don't lift the shoulders. We're really trying to get the air down into the lower part of the lungs. And then when you breathe out, you want to gently pull your navel towards your spine. So you want to imagine that there's a string tied onto your navel. That string is being pulled towards the spine. When we breathe in, we expand. So the rib cage opens, the belly relaxes, but when you breathe out, everything closes. We're trying to close our own abdominal corset. So let's take a long breath in through the nose, and then parting the lips, let's breathe out through the mouth. And again, taking a deep breath in. Just hold it for just a moment, and then as you breathe out, imagine that string pulling on your navel towards the spine. We've got a big flat muscle that covers our internal organs. That muscle will tighten up when we do that breath out. So I'll get you to do 3 more times at your own pace. You follow your own breathing. And you can see we stay very relaxed in the upper body. So relaxed in your shoulders and in your neck, in your face. No more creases between the eyebrows. Good. All right. So I encourage you to use that breathing technique, especially when things are getting a little bit too much and we need to relax a little bit. It's a lovely way to do it. Okay, so to finish off, we'll do a couple of stretches. I want you just to slide a bit closer to the front of your chair. Keep one foot on the ground and extend the other leg forward. And then you're going to place your hands on that bent leg. And then take a breath in, lift up tall, and as you breathe out, hinge forward from your hip. And you want to feel a stretch in the back of the thigh, down in your calf. And here we're not rounding out the back, we're just moving from our hip joint. And then we'll take a breath in and come back to the center. Let's try the same thing on the other leg. So you've got your heel on the floor, or the toes, doesn't really matter. Let's take a breath in, lift up tall, and then a hinge forward from the hips. And you might notice that one side doesn't feel the same as the other. We all have that side that's just a bit tighter and probably needs a bit more of a stretch. Often what you can do then is that tighter side, stretch it first, then go to the other side, and then come back and do that tight side again. Good, and then coming back to the center. And now we're going to sit up tall again, reach out with one arm and bring that hand onto the outside of the knee. The other hand we're just going to hold onto the chair. I want you to take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in, really get some length in your spine. Lift up tall, and as you breathe out, let's rotate towards the leg that we're holding on to. Just hold it there for a mild stretch. And then let's come back to the center. Reach out with the other arm, bring it across, hold on to the chair, take a deep breath in and lift tall through the top of the head and turn to the side. And then coming back to the center. Lovely. Now let's go back to those head tilts that we did at the very beginning. Let's tilt the head to one side and just hold it there and feel that nice mild stretch from the ear down towards the top of the shoulder. If your neck is very tight, sometimes the head wants to tilt back, so let's just bring the chin in a little bit towards the chest. And also be aware of not leaning to the side. So we're going to sit up nice and tall. Then breathe in, come back to the center, tilt the head to the other side. You might want to bring the chin a little bit towards the chest, just until you feel that nice mild stretch here. We never want to force it. And then come back to the center. Now let's just drop the arms down, take a deep breath in, reach the arms up, about shoulder height, and then back down, breathing out. Take a breath in, you might want to lift up a little bit higher if you want, and breathe out. Good, let's do 2 more times like this. Take a deep breath in, and out. And one more time, breathing in, and bring the hands down onto the thighs. And we're done. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you do have any comments, please let me know. Anything you'd like us to maybe have a look at doing next week. I'd also like to know where you're from, so what suburb you might be from in Canberra. If you're from anywhere else, I'm curious, so just put that in your comment section. If you'd like to join me next week, please be happy to see you again, and share, ask your friends to come along if it's appropriate for them. And I read a great article the other day about how elbow pumping instead of a handshake is probably not as nice to do. And one of the suggestions was that we either give a high five to each other or put the hand on the heart and say hello or goodbye. I'd prefer that one. I say goodbye, see you next time, and have a lovely week. Thank you.